Hey, what's up, guys? Scott here, back once more with another video. Been a couple weeks, so thought it was time to make one. Alright, so the next big thing we got coming down the pipe, superhero-wise, is the Thunderbolts film. A film I'm very excited for. I think has a lot of potential to be not only successful at the box office, but also just a great movie in general that really can be an event-level film for the MCU. Because this really is kind of an Avengers film. It's an ensemble film about a bunch of characters we've met in other media coming together to stop a greater threat. So I think this movie has the potential to be an Avengers level film, like as far as how it's received. Like really, now I'm not saying it has to be like as well received as Endgame, because that was the culmination of years and years worth of storytelling and films and things. But this could be a good launching point for the new era of MCU ensemble films, where you have a bunch of characters coming together to fight a greater threat. And we met all these characters in different media, at least most of them. So the MCU Thunderbolts team will primarily consist of Yelena Belova, who of course is Natasha, Black Widow's adoptive sister, who was with her. I don't think they were ever in the Red Room together. They may have been, but they were kind of separated when they were children, then reunited later in life. Because the Black Widow movie is actually set a couple years before Infinity War, which is of course was the stuff with Thanos and all that. And so Natasha and Yelena got to have one adventure together, and then they went their separate ways. And then Yelena actually got dusted, as we see in the Hawkeye series. So Yelena was dusted for 5 years. So obviously Natasha died, and when Yelena came back, she didn't get to say goodbye to her sister, so that she's dealing with a lot of grief there. And then moving on from that, we have Red Guardian, who is Natasha and Yelena's adopted father when they were in America. And he was also introduced in the Black Widow movie. And I like their dynamic, Yelena and Red Guardian. And Yelena does not have a mantle or moniker yet, or an actual hero name in the MCU yet. I'm hoping she will take up the mantle and take the name of White Widow, who she is in the comics. So that's my hope, that maybe in this movie or by the end of the next Avengers movie, she'll take up the mantle name of White Widow, which is what she does in the recent comics. So, but we have Red Guardian, who is Natasha and Yelena's adoptive father, who is a Russian version of the super soldier. He got the super soldier serum, so he doesn't age really. I'll take that back. Okay. He ages, but I forgot that Steve Rogers was frozen for, over 70 years. That's why he didn't age. But, kind of slow aging, super strength, and stuff like that. So, he's basically a Russian super soldier. So that's his thing. Then we have Ghost, who was introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And her thing is she can kind of phase through things. I've only seen Ant-Man and the Wasp one time, and so I know she can phase and change her density, and I think that's her main power, like a ghost, obviously, right? So she can come and helpful in situations where that can be useful. Then we got Taskmaster, who was introduced in Black Widow. In the MCU continuity, Taskmaster is Antonia Dreykov, who was brainwashed and kind of controlled by her father and her evil father, Ivan Dreykov, into becoming this assassin. But in the end of the Black Widow movie, her father was defeated, and she decided to start on a new path as a hero. So she's going to be part of this team. And then we have U.S. Agent, or John Walker, who was introduced in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series. He is who originally. So at the end of Endgame, Steve Rogers gave Sam Wilson the shield, but in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series, Sam Wilson doesn't feel he's worthy to be Captain America, so he gives the shield back to the U.S. government, and the U.S. government gives the shield to John Walker. But as the show goes on, John Walker kind of becomes, it becomes clear that he's, not really worthy to take the shield, because he's not Steve Rogers. Like he doesn't have the qualities that Steve Rogers did. He's very arrogant, at least at first. He does have a good character arc where he comes out by the end a better man, but initially he's very arrogant, very overconfident, just the things that Steve Rogers wasn't. So at the end, ultimately, he Sam gets the shield back and becomes Captain America, and then he becomes U.S. agent, and he gets a shield of his own, but it's not made of vibranium, I don't think. But he does have a shield of his own now, so he becomes U.S. agent instead of Captain America. And he does have a good character arc through the show, where at the end he becomes a better man. So, but he's still definitely not like a full-on hero. He has problems. As most of these characters are the oddball characters. They're the I want to say the B team, but they're the outcasts. Kind of like the Suicide Squad, which is what we'll get to in a minute, or the Guardians. The outsiders, the outcasts. The ones that nobody really relies on. But it's up to them to prove them wrong. So anyway, so we got U.S. Agent John Walker, and then last but not least, of course, we have Bucky Barnes, who has been around since the early days of the MCU. But he's had a good character arc through the films, and it kind of seems like Bucky and Yelena are going to be the de facto leaders of the team. So that'll be good. And so I like this team lineup because it works well with the MCU continuity. Now in the comics, the Thunderbolts lineup is way different. I mean, some of them are the same, but for the MCU, this lineup works. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see their dynamic as a team, how they're going to work together, their conflict, how they're going to resolve that. Yes, all that good stuff. Now let's talk about our villain that we know of. So this is going to be interesting. So you have a character called the Sentry. His real name is Robert Reynolds, or Bob Reynolds. And now we don't know the MCU yet, but in the comics, his origin is he was given an unstable version of the super soldier serum. So he has even though it was unstable, it still gave him, the powers. He's basically Marvel's Superman. He has the power. The quote is, I think, like the power of 1 million or 1,000 exploding suns, something like that. So when he's the Sentry, he's a good guy. The problem is he has a split personality. He has this other half. I think before he even got the super soldier serum, the unstable super soldier serum, he had a split personality disorder. So when he got the super soldier serum, and the unstableness might have had something to do with it, but he gains all these powers. So when he's the Sentry, he's a good guy. He fights with the Avengers, but he has this alternate personality called the Void, which is like almost evil incarnate, like total destruction, everything. And it is one of the most powerful entities in all of the Marvel canon. Like, you just go read the Siege storyline and you will see what I'm talking about, because he wrecks people. He is like god level powers. So I like the premise of this ragtag team of outcast characters going up against this great threat, the Void or the Sentry. But I hope it's written well, and it can be done because we've seen in 3 times. All of them by James. Well, not all of them. 2 of them by James Gunn. We had James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, where you had the Guardians coming together to fight Ronan, who was empowered by the end. Was empowered by an Infinity Stone, the Power Stone. He put it in his hammer, and he was like nigh unstoppable. But the Guardians were able to work together to defeat him and his army. So worked there. You had the original Suicide Squad, which was directed by David Ayer, where you had Deadshot, Harley, and El Diablo, and all these guys, all these outcast characters coming together to fight Enchantress, who is like, a very, very powerful sorceress, and they were all able to work together to defeat her and her brother Incubus. And in James Gunn directed Guardians 1, where that was the premise, and then then you had James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, the second Suicide Squad, where you had all of them, Harley and Bloodsport and Polka Dot Man and Peacemaker, all these different, all these outcast characters come together to fight a great threat called Starro, who was a very powerful alien threat. So this premise can be done well. And in all 3 of those, Guardians 1 and both Suicide Squads, it made sense. The way the team defeated the threat made sense. They all worked together. They all learned to work together, use their strength and the enemy's weaknesses against them. So the way they defeated the threat made sense. I hope that works here. I like the premise. of all these characters coming together to fight this great threat, the Sentry or the Void. So, I like the premise. I just hope they pull it off well. It needs to be executed well. But I have faith that Marvel can do it because they've done this premise before and they did it well. So I think they can do it again. Now, as far as Sentry in the MCU, we don't know his origin or... I was just going off the comics origin. We don't know if in the MCU if the Sentry and the Void are one and the same, or if it's just going to be him as the Sentry that's the threat. We don't know yet, but he's a good choice for the villain of this movie. So I'm very excited to see how this plays out. Now, the last thing is the title of this movie is Thunderbolts, but it has an asterisk next to it. Kevin Feige has come out and said that the asterisk does mean something, and the meaning will come out when the movie comes out. A lot of people are theorizing that it means that the final name of the team will not be the Thunderbolts. It'll be like the New Avengers or the Dark Avengers or something along those lines. But the asterisk does mean something, and it has been confirmed. We will find out when the movie comes out. So anyway, guys, I'm excited for Thunderbolts. It's just about a month and a half away, and I can't wait to see more. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and peace out.